What's up, Auto Buddies? Mike from Taco Motoco here. We are out in Pine, Idaho. This is a little town in the mountains. We're doing the Idaho Grit 3. We're on day 2. We're at the Pine Lodge. It's a great little hotel. If you're ever doing any Idaho riding and you need a place to stay, come to Pine, Idaho. It's on the convergence of a lot of great trails. And this is a fantastic hotel. Everybody's walking over to breakfast. Right now, here I'm at the bike. This is the 21 500 EXCF, and this is the bike that we've set up for the ride. And today I'm going to do some swap outs. So let me walk you through really quick how we have set this bike up. Yesterday, day 1, so we've got the Cherubi's 3.9 4-gallon gas tank, and then we're running the Twisted Engineering Composite Flex. These are the carbon fiber bars. Absolutely love these bars. Big, huge fan of them. One thing I want to point out about them though is I took a digger in a little rock section, and so when the bike fell over, it was kind of one of those low speed, almost no speed, low sides. And what happened is you can see this tweak right here, and then up here, this is the normal side. This is what it should look like. So the bolt here is riding at the end of the little guard, and here, because this one got shoved in, bent it, and I'll have to pull this off and straighten it out. So I was thinking one of the things that might be a nice upgrade is to, and I'll have to make one of these, is an insert that would fill this extra space and would be curved and would ride against the bolt. And then if you did get some forces going this way, that little block there, that spacer block, would keep it from going in and bending. So totally a fan of the bars, not super stoked on the guards. These are the guards that come with it, and you have to run these guards because they clamp over the end. Notice how the bar inside here is carbon fiber, and so you wouldn't be able to do like one of those standard expanding nuts. We're big fans of the threaded insert, and you wouldn't be able to do that either. So you have to clamp the bar from the outside, and they've got a nice thin one, and it does a good job. You know, it swiped away all the branches and bushes, so that was a plus. But got that issue with if you fall. If you took a big crash, then you know that it'd probably move all the angles and do a lot of bending. They're not particularly heavy duty, so these are more, think of these as more like flags, I guess. Motor Minded XL80 headlight. We didn't ride it in the dark last night, so it didn't get into that. I took off all the plastics. I didn't want to scratch those up, so we're just running a set of a Cherubi's. They fit really well. Let's see, Pro Motobility end cap. Right now I have the Get ECU with the traction control and the map switch. Now let me tell you why that was super clutch yesterday. So this bike, I've done mods to the power. So the Get ECU, taking out the reeds, we're running a screenless air filter cage, got the Pro Moto, so we've opened up the exhaust, desmog, so we're running full potential power. What I thought about doing though was, and I have all the Race Tech kit parts for the suspension, so I was going to completely upgrade the suspension, do the dual chamber conversion, and I did not do that because I thought, well, one, kind of ran out of time in setting this up, and the deadline for our trip fast approaching. But two, I wanted to experience this bike stock. If you know that the Explorer setup on these bikes is underwhelming. Not many people love them. Magazine guys, editors, test riders, they don't love that suspension setup. So I wanted to, well, I rode this bike at home stock and was really impressed. Much better over the previous generation, like the 17 Plus. The 20 was okay. The 20 was probably the best yet of the Explorer. But then this right here, their valving is really good. I was quite impressed. Now, was there room on the table? A ton. But I thought it was pretty acceptable to do a ride like this. So doing this ride with the stock setup. Now I've heavily modified the clickers. In fact, on the compression, they're all the way out, and I would still like to have more clicks out on the compression. Rebound, I let that out about halfway over stock. So I've taken it about as far as I can on the front and the rear. Still messing around with it, haven't settled on the exact settings that I like there. So is this ideal for a hard gnar enduro ride like this? No, it's not. It's still a little disappointing, but it's absolutely serviceable. We're running the Moose and some good tires, and that helps as well. That's pretty essential when you're doing a ride where survivability is the number one thing. So the other thing I was going to mention on the suspension is the fact that, and why this relates to the Get. So when the guys at the shop put this bike together, the high school kid in the back set this basically like, the MX setting, where this bike has a very short wheelbase now because the forks are dropped so high, and it is super twitchy on fire roads and faster roads, incredibly twitchy. And it excels, and it's amazing when you get into some tight single track. You can do like single foot pivot turns super swiftly, like it's great, but terrible, twitchy, not uncontrollable, but just super sketchy when you're on some high speed stuff. So what I did was, and why the Get was super clutch for that, is because you can modulate the power so well. I've got it. So what I did was I set it into map position 2, which is our softer hit, a little more linear off-road map, and then crank the traction knob all the way up to max. So it's at 9. So the power delivery of this bike goes from, full wide open, burn the house down map 1 race map, to now feeling more like a 250. And so I can absolutely get authority and control over the power delivery. And I needed that because when I would get on the power in my headspace, I'm riding a bike. So my brain is thinking I'm riding a bike that's got a very dialed in suspension and very comfortable and competent on roads like that. And I didn't have that bike. And so instead of trying to just retrain my riding for this setup right now, I just retrained the bike. So kicked the bike down into that mode, felt like a 250, and it really brought it into control, and was very manageable after that. So the Get ECU system, the power delivery system, is so flexible and versatile. That's one example of having a situation where you might need to and want to just scrub away all of its sort of race manners and turn it into, I've told guys it sort of feels like a Yamaha TT. What is that model? I think it's the 230, the little air-cooled trail bikes. It just sort of motors along and putts along, and is very, very confidence inspiring. It's not fatiguing. Another time you might want to do that switch is like if you were just flagged out, you're gassed out, you're at the end of the day, and you just want to motor back, get back to the hotel or the truck, and not have any just all the power that the 500 power and torque that the 500 has. So you could throw it sort of in that mode and just have a chill remainder of the afternoon. So today, what are some of the changes that we're going to make today? I'm going to switch out this is the silent. So on the Pro Moto back here, this is the silent downturn. So there's let me show you the difference. So this is the silent, and this is the ultra silent. So we're gonna run the ultra silent today. See how it's got these little baffles in here? That's just gonna knock down and dampen a little bit of the sound. Another thing too is it's a little bit more restrictive, maybe 5% more restrictive, and that should give me a little more bottom end. Today we're gonna be in some very, very technical stuff. Yesterday was a mix. We had some nice single track, but today is just all single track, all super aggressive, gnarly stuff. So I'd like that smoothing and the bottom end to be there a little bit. And with the reeds out, this is in some ways, and this is something I'm going to test too, is sort of that power difference once you pull the reeds out, because the reeds retain low end, you sort of sacrifice top end, mid-range and top end. So here we're trying to determine, with reeds out, does the ultra silent sort of give you back the same feel, the dynamics of the reeds, with just one bolt. So putting the reeds, swapping the reeds in and out, that's kind of a drama show. That's a big deal. Takes a little while. But just swapping this out to either nothing, having straight open end, or going here to the ultra silent, that could be a really quick switcheroo between sort of those two modes. And that's exactly what I'm going to do today. pop in this ultra silent, which will, I think, mimic sort of that feel of what the Reeds did. We'll see how that goes. And then I like this because it just keeps the sound down. We're out here in the forest and there's other users out here. And this end pipe straight out, it's pretty obnoxious. It's awesome, it sounds amazing, but kind of obnoxious to other users out here in the forest. So trying to be courteous and run on that. I'm gonna take the stock brake lever, which is what we have on there now, and I'm gonna switch to 2 at first. I'm gonna go with another stock lever, but with the Enduro Engineering lever skin. These are really cool, I like these. This just adds a little traction to the lever, to the grip itself. Yeah, adds a little grip to the lever itself. So I've used these before, I'm a big fan. We'll try that today. The stock lever, I don't particularly love the shape, the bend, or I'm not a fan. So I swapped those out on bikes. For whatever reason, I must have forgot that. So today we're just gonna start out with this. If I'm gonna run a stock lever, then I almost have to run the little grip cover here. And then midday we'll go to the Midwest Mountain Engineering lever, brake lever. Now I'm not running their clutch lever, which I like a lot, but I'm not running it on this setup because I need a shorty lever. Well, the Midwest is a shorty lever, but it's not adjustable. Well, here I'm seeing some things that aren't quite exactly right. It is very adjustable, but with the ASV lever, I can get massive adjustability. So this would be super exaggerated, but if I wanted the lever to be way out in a ridiculous position like that, I could almost get it with this thumb nut here, pushing the post in and out. Or if I wanted it, you know, to be like really in tight, I could do that too with the nut. Super easy with your thumb. And the reason I needed that adjustability is because I'm running the aux brake, aux hydraulic rear brake, and we need that. I want that for the crazy single track that we're doing out here. So the stock lever, I don't like the stock clutch lever on crazy single track. I like the little ASV shorties, and I tried the Midwest, but it just, you know, because you're diving sometimes in between the clutch and the brake, you're having to do sort of that. And the Midwest seemed to just hit the top of my fingers. And I like this particular lever. I've had this exact one on a ton of bikes, and I like it. I'm a fan. So we're gonna swap levers a couple times during the day. Also, I'm gonna pop out the Get ECU and then go for the Vortex. And we'll start off with map 1, and then we'll just cycle through, I forget what the other maps are, 3, 4, I think 7. Those are ones that guys have given good feedback on. Technical single track. I've run the Vortex plenty of times and done it on some single track, running map 1 and 2. Today I have much more time, and so I'm going to cycle through all of the maps that are rated with standard like 91 pump gas, and I'll take some notes and see what kind of impressions we get on that. Also not shown here, but on another day I'll run the stock ECU with the Dynojet Power Commander, and that'll be another day in the single track to get impressions on how those feel. I'm going to swap the seat. This is the Enduro Engineering mid height. That's not quite standard. The stock seat is a little higher, so it's a little shorter than stock. Today I'm going to go for the wide low and see how that feels. I didn't mind this seat. The foam is okay. I don't like a narrow seat, so I don't even care who makes it. I think this is a good little seat here. I like the gripper top, but it's narrow, and I was not a fan. So do I like the Enduro Engineering seats? Yes. I do not like a stock width. I need one that's a little bit wider, and this one is wider, but I don't want to jinx it, but I don't think I'm going to like that one either. And I did not bring, killing myself, I did not bring a Seat Concepts Comfort, which really is my ultimate #1 favorite seat, and I left it at home, so super bummed about that. I think I'm gonna have that overnighted out to us for one of our next stops. And then up here, I forgot to do this at home, so I'm gonna throw on some Cherubies fork guards. We'll need that today in the crazy. And I also forgot to swap out the plastic, so I got some Cherubies lower fork guards, so I'll preserve these. So, you know, again, I took off all the stock plastics, so I wouldn't scratch those up. And then something too that we're doing is all our stops, and just along the way, I'm just having people sign the bike, and we're just gonna graffiti it up because I don't have a sticker kit. And so we're gonna make our own sticker kit just with riding on the bike. Seemed like a fun thing to do. Kind of cool idea. And then I'll take the stickers, or rather the plastics, and throw them up in the shop, and then we'll just have those as a souvenir of the trip. So that's full impressions on this bike, day one. We did a little over 100 miles yesterday. We didn't get a full day in. We had some mechanical problems with a couple of bikes at the start. We didn't even leave Jackpot, Nevada until like 11. And then when we got to Twin Falls, it was starting to get late afternoon and cold. So we just trailered up here. We did a little jump between Twin Falls and Pine. And so we're starting out here at Pine, and we'll run a full day on the bike. Look for other videos coming soon for day 2 and so on with the bike. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions, if you have any impressions about any of the items that we've talked about, or this machine in general. Hit us up. Thanks, and as always, go out and get some adventure.